Kitchel law had a win last week. A DC jury awarded our client $13.57 million in a wrongful death action, and I'd like to tell you all about it. The case dates back to March 9th, 2018, and involves a man named DeAngelo Green. DeAngelo Green was driving north on 12th Street Northeast, near the intersection of Rhode Island Avenue. DeAngelo had the green light. As he entered the intersection, a DC Firetruck came barreling down a hill on his right-hand side. It was traveling, the district found, a minimum of 24 miles an hour over the speed limit. The evidence we discovered showed that the truck had been driving toward a red light for at least 4 seconds before it ever hit the brakes. The fire truck slammed on the brakes but wasn't able to stop the momentum of the truck from hitting DeAngelo's car. He was shoved into a brick wall. The fire truck landed on top of his car and he was killed instantly. Now, the district government, of course, investigated the crash and discovered all of these facts: the speed of the fire truck, the failure to hit the brakes in time, the failure to slow down before it approached a red light. And did the district do anything to make this right? It did not. Suit was filed in 2019, and the district has fought taking responsibility for this crash every step of the way. DeAngelo Green left behind 6 children between the ages of 2 and 15 at the time he died. DeAngelo's wife is a District of Columbia government employee. The District of Columbia did nothing at all to make amends or to take responsibility. And that's what the function of the courts is for. The case went to trial twice. The first time, a DC jury found that the District of Columbia government's operation of its fire truck was grossly negligent. The jury considered factors like the speed of the fire truck going at a minimum of 54 miles an hour in a 25 mile an hour zone, the fact that there were pedestrians and schools and churches nearby, the fact that the light was red and that the truck was barreling toward that fire truck for at least 4 seconds before it ever hit the brakes. A jury found the city was grossly negligent. The case went to trial again last week, and a DC jury awarded a verdict of just over $13.57 million to this family. The law regarding wrongful death damages is really interesting, and it really hits home how egregious the district's failure to take responsibility is. So, no surprise, the law in the District of Columbia says that when someone dies, the amount of money they would be expected to earn to contribute toward their family is one of the types of damages a jury can award. Now, DeAngelo Green was not a wealthy man. He worked as a janitor at So Others Might Eat and had his GED. So the jury was presented evidence of what his expected earnings were expected to be and how those played out in his household. But interestingly, the District of Columbia law doesn't allow grief to come into evidence. So we didn't get to hear how much DeAngelo's children and his wife loved him, how their lives have been torn apart by his death. None of that evidence came into play. But what the jury did hear was what DeAngelo did to provide for his family in terms of services. So the jury heard evidence that he was the cook in the house and that he did the cleaning and was the primary parent driving kids around and getting the shopping done and those sorts of household tasks. But the bulk of the damages awarded by the jury had to do with what kind of a father DeAngelo was. The law in the District of Columbia says that the loss of care, education, training, guidance, and support that a parent offers his children is compensable. And the jury heard lots of evidence about what sort of a father he was and how he cared for his children and spent time with his children and showed up for his children, going to their events, teaching them to swim, all of the things he actually did to provide service to his children. That is the bulk of the damages awarded by a jury. And none of this, the law on this, the kind of father that this man was not a surprise to the district government. No one really disputed how much money the man was going to potentially make into the future. And no one really disputed what sort of a father he was, and a jury spoke. But the DC government knew all of this information, has known all of this information for years, and has not lifted a finger to try to make this right. We are so proud of the DC government jury that saw the evidence and rendered a fair verdict, awarding this family the resources that it needs to provide these kids a future now that their dad is gone. College, schooling, whatever it is that the children need can be provided for. And this is the power of the courts. The courts force negligent people, drivers, governments to take responsibility and make amends. And we are proud for the work that we have done for this family.